Everybody, welcome back. So I've decided to do a set of sessions on Advent this year. So Advent starts on the 4th week before Christmas, and part of the church services is to use an Advent wreath, which I'll show you later, which has 4 candles in it and then one in the centre, and each candle represents something different. So each week I'm going to be doing a recipe based on the candle of the week and the story of the week. So the first week is a purple candle, which I will light at the end, and it's meant to represent the patriarchs. So an example of a patriarch might be Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. It all links into the family history of Jesus, so that's why it really links into Christmas and the birth of Jesus. So Abraham is also known as the father of faith to Christian people and also in Jewish belief. And he's an interesting character. He's got a lot of interesting stories. In Genesis 12, God apparently says to Abraham, okay, I'm going to make you into a great nation. I'm going to make your name great. You're going to be a blessing to the whole world. People who bless you, I'm going to bless. People who curse you, I'm going to curse. That's quite something to hear. And everybody on earth is going to be blessed by you. So I don't know if somebody said that to me, how I'd feel, but Abraham apparently decided he was going to believe that, and God decided to credit him as righteousness. So he is known as one of the fathers of the faith, and there's a story in Genesis 18, starting at verse 8, where he has 3 visitors. Now at this point you're thinking, okay, so I'm guessing he has a lot of kids, right? But he doesn't. He has no kids. And, he's not young. He and his wife are well past childbearing age, really. I mean, Sarah is definitely past childbearing age. They have these 3 visitors. It says the Lord appeared, and then Abraham looked up from his tent, and there were 3 men standing in front of him. And the story talks about how they say to Abraham that his wife Sarah is going to have a baby within a year. And, she is in the tent, and she laughs about it because she can't imagine that someone who has probably gone past the menopause is going to have a baby at her age. Of course, she denies it, but a year later we find, she's given birth to Isaac, another one of the patriarchs, and in the line of the story on the way to Jesus being born. So part of that story is that Abraham and Sarah actually prepare food for their guests. So today I'm going to be making flatbreads, which are what they made for these guests. They made flatbreads with, the bread with curds, which I'm probably going to put some cheese to serve with, and it says calf, so beef, and also probably a glass of milk, which is what it says in the text. Now, bear in mind at this point, kosher rules weren't in. That was something that came later. So I'm actually going to make some flatbreads today. I've decided to use a recipe from Jamie Oliver, which I'll link in the comments. So it's very simple. It's a great recipe, nice and easy. In fact, maybe once you've done the initial mixing, if you've got kids, you can probably get them to roll out the balls and squash them. It's going to be quite good fun. So it's 350 grams of natural yogurt, which I've got on here, and then literally exactly the same, 350 grams of self-raising flour. Now, if you live in the States or other parts of the world, in England we have this self-raising flour which has got a raising agent in it. So it already has a raising agent, but we're actually going to add some baking powder as well, which is a teaspoon. So although they're not going to be like pittas, which are really, really flat, they've got a little bit of a rise to them, but they're also not going to be like full-on bread. So they're not going to need lots of kneading, they're not going to come up really high, but they do have a bit of lift in them. So obviously in other parts of the world your flour doesn't have any raising agents in. So just bear that in mind when you're making these, that actually depending on where you live in the world, you might find you need a little bit of raising agent, otherwise you can end up with some pittas, which is really tasty but slightly different to what we're going for. So I'm going to make these. You put them in together, mix it all around. It's a bit of a gooey dough, quite messy, have fun, make sure your hands are washed. And then we're going to roll them out we're going to pop the ball on the surface, give it a good knead, get some frustration out if you like, nice clean surface, and then we're going to make it into 6 balls which are going to get flattened to about two and a bit centimetres thick. You don't want it too thick because it's going to rise slightly, but you don't want it so thin that you have trouble transporting it. You can put it on a griddle, a couple of minutes each side, so just watch for getting burnt, but it should be lovely and soft. Not so soft that you can't get it off the pan though. And then we're going to serve them up. Now on the Jamie Oliver recipe there's actually a garlic and herb and butter dip that you put with it, but I've decided because of the story, because I'm going to be adding in this wonderful cheese or curds and the slices of beef, I'm effectively going to make, you know, cheese and beef sandwich. Very nice. So watch along with me, see how it goes. As with all my recipes, I've not made this one before, so we'll see how it turns out. And well, welcome to Advent 1. Welcome to Advent 1.